We can just start off with the Vikings. Obviously, so they re-signed Kirk Cousins this season. Um, Honestly, the offensive side of the ball really doesn't have any glaring issues from what I see. You got Jay Jeff, you got Adam Thielen, who else? Dalvin Cook. So it's a pretty solid offense. And Kirk Cousins, I think, has been under kind of appreciated over the last couple of years. I think he's been a very solid quarterback, especially when you look in the grand scheme of things relative to the other quarterbacks in the league. He's always able to make good decisions, pretty good throws. So
Yeah, definitely. I think especially throughout his Minnesota tenure, he's been underrated because he has not been the issue for them missing the playoffs. I think every year with him, but it just so happened that when he got there, their once fearsome defense, literally the year before, that had them in the NFC title game, just has never been the same since. And yeah, offensive side of the ball is really not a concern. Kirk has been very good. Of course, there's the usual, Kirk not showing up in big games. That's still a thing, but oh wait, no, I misspoke earlier. I just remembered they went to the playoffs and lost to the Niners in 2019 season, I think. But regardless, yeah, I mean, those concerns are still there, but like Kirk is not the problem, and he's performed pretty well for them. They continue to have these issues in very close games. They squandered several one-score games, I recall, this year. But that's just been a Vikings thing, just like the Falcons. They've struggled in those tight games. Who was that? Their coach got that they parted with what?
They parted with him. Hold on.
Mike,
I don't remember, honestly. I know that he was the
I know he's the
defensive coordinator before, but I forget his name.
I mean, Mike Zimmer.
They parted with him. So hopefully the coaching change will bring better days for them, and they're able to win these tight games that we know they're gonna be in. So
that coaching tenure had run its course. Zimmer, their calling card under him was their defense, and that has just not been up to par the last couple of years. So.
And I think they have a solid shot at winning the division this year with the Packers losing Devontae. That's huge. So they don't really have a receiver. Obviously, got to see what they do in the draft, but
and somehow they've always seemed to have Green Bay's number once a year. Pretty much, they beat the Packers. They're the one team in this division that's given Aaron Rodgers relatively more trouble, as he's had his way with the other two.
You also on the defensive side of the ball, hopefully they're a little better this year. I know that wasn't their strong suit last year, but they got Jordan Hicks and then Zadarius Smith from the Packers as well. So hopefully those two can kind of help them shore up the front of that defense and make some plays for them. But we can move on. So Lions are next up. This is kind of just another team with a lot of holes. They traded ever since the trade with Matt Stafford. Even before, they were never a great team, and then after that trade, you got Jared Goff at the helm. So we know that he's not going to be your guy to go out and win you a Super Bowl. They have holes all over the roster, really.
I will say they're what was it? Man, I really I'm not doing well with coach names today, but they're new. Was it Dan okay,
Dan
let me
Campbell.
Dan Campbell. Yeah, I would call his first year like he did the best with what he had. The Lions were up, they were a bit of a frisky team. As far as they were in a lot of games. They were competitive.
Yeah.
In a lot of games you probably thought on paper they had no business being competitive in.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, staved off the winless season. And they play hard for Dan Campbell, which is good to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's only so much that's gonna overcome the talent deficit on this team
Yeah.
at a lot of different areas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have definitely have a lot of holes. I think they allowed the most pass TDs and higher passer ratings since um, you know,
No.
last year. So that's obviously another thing. You can't have a bad offense and allow teams to go crazy against you in the past. So
Mhm.
I think they're going to stick with Jared Goff this year, and then hopefully they can give him some talent to work with. They added DJ Chark too, and Amon-Ra St. Brown was excellent in the second half of last season. So
Mhm.
um, if they're able to get him some more help on that offensive side, and then shore up the defense as much as they can through the draft, hopefully they can win a couple more games this season.
Yeah, I mean, as we know, Goff is not the QB that's gonna be able to put a band-aid on a lot of those holes on the team.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you're gonna need to give him some help. And I mean, as we said earlier, you don't see him being their guy for much longer. You'll probably see them draft a quarterback soon.
yep,
Uh, and yeah,
yeah.
it's
They have the second. Yeah, they have the second pick this year. So who
yeah.
knows?
If they see their guy, yeah, they're you could see that. But yeah, the Lions in another team that's in a familiar spot, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah,
All right. Well, okay. So moving on, we got the Bears next up. So I think the biggest thing here is, we talked a little bit earlier. The only quarterback that was really good last year was Mac Jones, and then maybe Davis Mills, but Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, those guys were not as good as
mm,
they were expected to be. So I think the biggest thing here is try and set him up for success. They lost Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson wasn't a huge factor last season at any point. I don't know what it was, but he didn't get the targets or the catches that he's used to. So um, Darnell Mooney was a good piece on that offense. Same with David Montgomery. So I think if they're able to get a couple more um, receivers to help out Justin Fields, we know he's probably already. He reminds me of Russ a little bit in
mm.
the sense of he's kind of mobile and he has an absolute cannon. So we've seen him throw it deep several times, and he has an absolute cannon. So yeah, they just need to find ways to put pieces around him that'll help him succeed.
Yeah, I mean the Bears another team that's going to be rolling with a new coaching regime after parting ways with Matt Nagy last year. And I thought, yeah, that was definitely the right move for them.
Matt Nagy was not the right choice at coaching for the last couple of years. He did
Yeah,
not work out at all.
yeah, they're the Bears like I don't it's kind of just become a thing with them that their philosophy has been run and defense, and I think that's just dated at this point in the
Yeah,
NFL. You can't you can't win with great defense and a great running game. Yeah,
yeah,
you're gonna need your QB to be a significant factor if you're gonna have any kind type of success. And Justin Fields, he had some flashes, I'd say, last season. That Steelers game on Monday night probably being the best of them. But also I'm not gonna lie. I mean, as we're both Buckeyes, and like I thought heading into the draft last year that I didn't think Fields is gonna be good in the league. Take that for what you will, just because he like holds on. He's prone to holding on to the ball for a really long time. But nonetheless, it's too early to make an assessment one way or the other with him. The Bears O-line has been weak over the past couple of years. That doesn't help, as well as the skill talent. If you're looking for Allen Robinson to be your number one, as they have the last couple seasons, it's I mean, you need to give him some help to at least try to see what he can do. And I mean, I'd expect him to be better than he was last season, but I don't know. The Bears, there's, as I said, their philosophy has been so much predicated on defense, and that defense has gotten weaker and weaker as the years have gone by since they made that playoff game and lost on the double doink. So we'll see. I have a lot of questions with them, but
no, I agree. I don't have anything else on the Bears, but
I mean, if Fields turns out to have like a drastically better year, you could actually see them like compete in this division. But we're gonna have to see it first.
I think one thing with Fields is Ohio State's, college sets up quarterbacks that Ohio State does not run an NFL type scheme.
Yeah.
So it's hard. It's definitely a harder transition for him to make to the NFL as well, with probably a lot more plays and a lot more passing and just formation.
He definitely has like the physical tools, some of the physical tools that a lot of Ohio State QBs that have been taken into the league over the last couple of years didn't. Great athlete, and he's got a big arm. He's still pretty raw, so we'll see how he progresses. That's probably what's the Bears season is going to depend on, and whether you're encouraged or not.
Yep, definitely. All right, so last in the NFC North, Packers. So they lost Devontae Adams this year, and a stat that I thought was interesting was they haven't drafted a wide receiver in the last 20 years in the first round. And hopefully that changes this year with Aaron Rodgers on a massive contract. You got a couple more years. You get to kind of utilize him. You need to put as much talent as you can around him. So like they absolutely need to try and figure out a way to load up that offense. Because right now you have Aaron Jones might be, your best receiver.
I don't. It's gonna be interesting to see how the Packers look. Because Rodgers over the past couple of years has become a bit, Devontae centric. That's not to say he's not. Like he can still make it work with anybody. You saw that last year when they handed the Cardinals their first loss of the season without Devontae. But his last two MVP years, these last two seasons have been. You've seen Devontae be such a big factor in his production, and last year, the last 2 years really have been the Packers going in all in, especially last year, and really to no avail, which is tough, considering, similar to the Cowboys, like last year needed to be the year that you got everything out of going all in, basically. And now with a lot of significant figures in your team leaving now, I don't know. Yeah, it's
I think the Packers window has closed. Honestly,
oh
obviously
yeah, I agree.
yeah, you still have Aaron Rodgers, but I just don't think that front office is. I don't know what they've been doing the last couple of years. That starting with that Jordan Love pick, you had T.
Yeah.
Higgins taken 5 picks later, who's turned out in the fantastic player for the Bengals. Like, and he should have been drafted in the first round.
Mm,
So like, I just don't know what that front office is doing.
yeah, I mean, yeah, they had after a couple years post like 2014 ish, they were kind of just like they were just in the playoffs if they made it on the back of Aaron Rodgers still being in his prime and being able to lift a team on his back. And then I would say with the LaFleur era, they've done better as far as like making their defense formidable.
Yeah.
But now it's a completely different team
Yeah.
than you had in those first 3 years with LaFleur, where they made championship game, and then
Yeah.
disappointed last
Yeah.
year. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean
Yeah.
this division's definitely more open than it has been in the past,
Yeah.
just because the Packers probably are not going to be that juggernaut um that they've been.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. So hopefully they take someone in the first round that's able to help Rodgers out or able to get some additional help besides Sammy Watkins. But yeah, I guess we'll see how they do.